Hey guys, Obsidian Play here. With the new release of Breakthrough 10, we have been given access to a new Heroes run. And I have been playing these mods for a couple of while. And what I noticed, majority of times, the players have zero idea on how these bosses and their mechanics work. And on this video, I plan on teaching you guys how to tackle these bosses. Number 1, the first boss. Quite easy. I'm sure many of you must have experience with this boss, the Twin Lion. But since there are new players, I will make a quick rundown on the old mechanics as well as the new ones. The key mechanic of this boss is the ball, the one you are given at the beginning. What you're supposed to do with it is to pass it around before the timer runs out. But I really doubt anybody will notice it or forget it completely. And if you do, the boss will enter his enraged form and deal a ton of AoE damage, in which case you could lose the entire fight. So what you need to do is select 2 teammates, with each of them being responsible for the ball to throw it at each other before the timer runs out. But you must remember the boss will eventually get the ball, in which case all healers must focus on healing everyone until you exhaust him, in which case the boss will drop the ball, having you guys to do the exact same thing over and over again until you defeat the boss. But there are some differences with the new update. Number 1 being the ball has a protective shield that deals a ton of AoE damage if you're near it. What you're supposed to do here is to use Celestial Seas to grab it instead of going near it and taking it. So with that out of the way, the second most important, possibly the first important attack is the Copper Shadow. Basically the win or lose moment of the entire fight. It's not difficult in the sense of being complex or anything, it's fairly straightforward. See, when the boss loses more than half his health, he will summon a ball of coin, in which case all players must eat away its health, except the tank, who will be responsible for keeping the boss away from the players while they deal damage to the ball. And when you deal damage to the ball, when you reach about half of its health, the ball will split into multiple small ones with very little health, which you should be more than careful of getting rid of. After getting rid of them, just follow through just like you did as before and destroy it as quickly as possible, because if you do take too long, you and your entire team will most likely get wiped out. Now with the 2 most important mechanics out of the way, let's move on to the smaller ones. Ascending the Heights, a AoE type damage attack where you're supposed to destroy the last pillar before he gets there. Then there's Echoing Firecrackers, another yellow AoE attack where most players must stay away from each other and make distance while the boss releases multiple attacks. There's also Blooming Grounds, a red AoE attack where all players must stand in red bubbles forming on the ground and parry projectile attacks the boss releases. This attack is especially important since it deals massive amounts of key damage, which will help you in the long run to defeat the boss as fast as you can. Lastly, Cloud Above, another AoE based red attack where all players must stand on the ground and parry a AoE attack where the boss jumps from the sky and falls. Be sure to keep an eye on this attack since it is also a major key damaging attack. So that is the end for this boss, and now let's move on to the other one. The next boss is the Ghost Master. Out of all the bosses, this is the hardest boss that we have ever faced, requiring you and your teammates to pick roles and coordinate more than the other bosses we have faced to this day. See, with this boss I've seen that a lot of people just focus on the boss, try to deal a lot of damage without even checking their surrounding and what's going on. The mechanics are a tad bit more complex than the last one. It's not really that much, but it will be problematic if you and your teammates don't coordinate or do anything together as a team. The most important part about this boss are the Sadan chairs that the boss summons. See, when the boss starts the game, he will conjure he will summon a single sedan chair, which will have a tiny meter where you're supposed to deal damage until it reaches it, but you can deal it more damage. I suggest you do in the first round, but on the second round and the third round, where the boss will summon 2 chairs and later 3 chairs, you must only deal the necessary amount of damage, because if you are unable to deal that necessary amount of damage, at least even in a single chair, you will absolutely lose the match, most likely. There are other things that this boss does with the sedan chair, such as taking our ally and throwing him inside the sedan chair and attacking the chair with AoE attacks that drop from the sky, which when you're supposed to do is go and carry the sedan chair away from the affected area. So what you need to do before this fight starts, select 6 teammates who will be in charge of the sedan chairs. In the first round 2 people, in the second round 4 people, and in the third round 6 people. In which case the third and the last round the boss will be left out to the tank to deal with, away from the chairs, so that he doesn't also damage them while we coordinate and take our ally away from the yellow attacks. What you guys need to do is the person that's in front of the chair, choose which side we are going to move to, because if you try to move wherever you want, it's gonna create some problems and you might lose because of that. There's also another attack that's related to the chairs. That one is where the boss throws 3 slashes, and at the end of it he's gonna create a red stripe where all players get inside it and parry it. Because if you don't, the boss will enter the sedan chair and deal massive amounts of AoE damage, in which case you and your entire team will most likely lose. There are some other attacks that aren't really important, but it would be great if you do lose, because you could lose, probably not lose, up to how good your healers are. So if you don't want to be a bother to your healers, make sure to keep these in check. Number 1, Cloud Veil. What you're supposed to do is spread away and move out of each other's circles that will appear when the boss starts that attack, and when the timer goes and the red circle fills, a umbrella will come straight at you. What you need to do is just parry it, which will also damage majorly to her key. There's also Dirge of 9 Springs. I don't know how we are supposed to spell that. Dirge, something like that. Where the boss will choose a single player and jump on top of him and create a gigantic flower-like attack, which that single player must move out of the way and parry on his own. So those were the only mechanics that I thought were worthwhile keeping an eye on. See you in the next one.